You're with Biz Lounge, where we have the head of Google India with us. But before we take our conversation forward, let's take a look at how Rajan leads the Indian unit of one of the most dynamic companies in the world.
Rajan as a person is very exuberant and, he just has this positive vibe around him, which I think is contagious. He's just fun to work with. Wherever there is Rajan, right, it's, there's a party coming at the end of it.
This is me, so, if you want me to be really serious and sober.
Or he's more than cool. Partying with him can be seriously injurious.
I think the biggest learning for me was from him was how to really think big. And it's not big. I would, if I had to really say, it would be enormous.
The other part of Rajan that I really like is his approachability. The fact that anybody can walk up to him and have a conversation and he will remember it.
He forces you to come out of your comfort zone and, he unlocks that potential in you.
He doesn't like people who are laid back or who believe in normal. He likes things to be abnormal.
I don't sit at my desk for too long. No, actually this is like the longest I've sat here.
Inspiring you to do things which are bigger, bolder and far more innovative than you would have ever thought.
As a person who is so accomplished, as a person who's achieved so much in his life, then he carries that with a level of humility.
So we've seen that you guys really have a good time in the office. And what does it take to drive an organization that really seems to value creativity, speed? Does it take a certain type of style?
Yes, actually, we at Google, we have lots of different styles that work. But there are a few things that are pretty important to be a leader at Google, right? One is you have to be somebody who likes to think big and who can actually take big risks. So Larry Page, our CEO, would say this, right? It takes the same amount of same energy to either do small things or do big things. And we'd rather do big things. So being aspirational, thinking big, taking big risks is very important. And leaders who are sort of more incremental in their nature, I should say, generally are not very successful at Google. The other one is, we passionately dislike hierarchy. Passionately, right? So leaders who are hierarchical, especially in a country like India and other Asian markets, if you like hierarchy, this is a bad place. Because we are flat, and we don't like hierarchy. We have our CFO runs forums called Bureaucracy Busters, where we bust out the bureaucracy. Probably the third thing that's very important for us is speed. So if you like having meetings, a lot of senior leaders like presiding over lots of meetings and they spend all day in meetings. Google's a really bad place because we don't like meetings, we like getting things done. So we're out getting things done. So that's what really drives speed.
Mm-hmm. And are there any specific qualities you look for when you're hiring senior talent or people for critical roles?
Yeah, you have to think big. You have to be able to operate in sort of a very flat organization and not think very highly of yourself. So we have a simple saying at Google that says, inspire your teams to do things as opposed to tell them what to do. Finally, we look for leaders who are fun. Being boring at Google ain't fun at all, right? So we try to really look for leaders who are fun, who like to have fun, who want to have fun, and who kind of build fun into everything that they do.
Mm-hmm. And back when you worked at Dell, you had the opportunity to work with its founder, Michael Dell, personally. Tell us what you learned from him about leadership.
Yeah, I think from Michael, it was an absolutely amazing experience. And what I learned really was probably what makes Michael and probably most of the very successful entrepreneurs who they are and why they're so successful, right? And it's the first is focus. Michael focused on few things and did them extraordinarily well. Mm-hmm. So focusing on a few things and doing them extraordinarily well is a big learning that I had from him. The second really is persistence. Michael never gave up, doesn't give up. Mm-hmm. So, and telling Michael that you're going to give up is not a good idea. So, whether it's a quarter, whether it's 2 quarters, whether it's 1 year, whether it's 5 years, whether it's 10 years, whether it's 20 years, you just keep going. Right now, as you go along, you change, you'll change direction, you'll change how you approach the problem. But once Michael said, we're going to go get this done, it didn't matter how long, how many obstacles, he just was very, very persistent. And I kind of learned that from him. And the third one was, he was very clear on what he was good at and what he was not good at. Mm-hmm. And I think it takes a lot of humility at that level of leadership and success to be acutely aware of that. And Michael was acutely aware of what he was good at, also what he liked and what he didn't like, right? So he'd surround himself with a team of leaders who complementary. And a lot of people tend to surround themselves with people who look like them and who are like them, right? Same set of strengths, etc. But Michael's leadership teams always had complementary skills, and I think that was pretty important.
Mm-hmm. So you've had a pretty exciting career. Any regrets so far?
No regrets. I mean, I believe that that you've got to do different things. I've done many different things in my career, and I've had a blast. In everything I've done. And once I stop having fun, I just leave and do something else, right? So I think it's important that, and it could be, by the way, leave the current role and do something different, or it could be leave the company, do something different. But I've always believed that the most important thing, at any, regardless of what level you are, whether you're running the business, whether you've just joined a company, regardless of what industry, regardless of how long you've been doing it, is to actually have fun and do things you're absolutely passionate about. So I tend to do things with huge amounts of passion, and I'll do them as long as I'm having fun.
Okay, and as a leader, is there anything that really pushes your buttons? Any pet peeves that you have?
Yeah, I think probably two that really get me. The first one is when leaders and teams don't take accountability for their results. See, we're a pretty performance-focused organization, as are most companies, and I'm a pretty performance-focused leader, and we also set very high bars. So, we're going for Mount Everest, and there'll be times when you can't get to that peak. And a natural tendency of some people is to blame it on everything except themselves or their team. The market changed, we had a recession, interest rates went up. That really gets me, because what I really want to know is what is it that you could have done better or your team could have done better to win despite and hit the milestones or hit the numbers despite all the other things that may have gone wrong, right? Today in India, there are lots of reasons why you can't grow 80%, but I want to know how to grow 80%. And so I think that's probably the single most important thing. The other one is, I don't like incremental ideas, small ideas. We want to grow 2% higher than the market. Who cares? Grow double or triple or quadruple the market. More importantly, make the market grow, right? So I think being able to think big, if somebody's thinking small for a long period of time, it just tires me out.
Okay, and with that, we'll head into another short break. But when we get back, we'll take a look at how Rajan spends his downtime.